Alright, good evening, people. This is my bi-weekly spiritual upbringing message to the people. I wanted to discuss joy in adversity, but before I get to that, my thoughts are going to be coming from 1 Corinthians and also part of, I have it here, part of 1 Corinthians. I had the other one marked. And this kind of explains some things. I was just realizing how it flows together. Trying to see if I can find the actual. 2 Corinthians. Okay, it was 2 Corinthians, chapter 1, verse 8. I guess. I'm not sure why I had that one. Actually, I will get to that. Because a lot of this actually does tie in with Philippians. So, this is kind of what was on my mind. I'm starting with verse 10, 1 Corinthians chapter 1. I appeal to you, brothers and sisters, in the name of our Lord Jesus Christ, that all of you agree with one another in what you say, and that there be no divisions among you, but that you be perfectly united in mind and thought. My brothers and sisters, some from Chloe's household have informed me that there are quarrels among you. What I mean is this: one of you says, I follow Paul. Another says, I follow Apollos. Another, I follow Cephas. Still another, I follow Christ. Is Christ divided? Was Paul crucified for you? Were you baptized in the name of Paul? I thank God that I did not baptize any of you except Crispus and Gaius. So no one can say you were baptized in my name. For Christ did not send me to baptize, but to preach the gospel, not with wisdom and eloquence, lest the cross of Christ be emptied of its power. For the message of the cross is foolishness to those who are perishing, but to us who are being saved it is the power of God. For it is written, I will destroy the wisdom of the wise, the intelligence of the intelligent I will frustrate. Where is the wise person? Where is the teacher of the law? Where is the philosopher of this age? Has not God made foolish the wisdom of the world? For since in the wisdom of God the world through its wisdom did not know him, God was pleased through the foolishness of what was preached to save those who believe. Jews demand signs, Greeks look for wisdom, but we preach Christ crucified, a stumbling block to Jews and foolishness to Gentiles. But to those whom God has called, both Jews and Greeks, Christ the power of God and the wisdom of God. For the foolishness of God is wiser than human wisdom, and the weakness of God is stronger than human strength. God goes on in verse 27, but God chose the foolish things of the world to shame the wise. God chose the weak things to shame the strong. God chose the lowly things of the world and despised things, and the things that are not, to nullify the things that are, so that no one may boast before him. Verse 31, therefore, as it is written, let the one who boasts, boast in the Lord. In chapter 2, it goes on to talk about the message. Verse 6, we do, however, speak a message of wisdom among the mature, but not the wisdom of this age, or the rulers of this age who are coming to nothing. No, we declare God's wisdom, a mystery that has been hidden and that God destined for our glory before time began. None of the rulers of this age understood it, for if they had, they would not have crucified the Lord of glory. However, it is written, what no eye has seen, and what no ear has heard, and what no human mind has conceived, the things God has prepared for those who love him. These are the things God has revealed to us by his Spirit. The Spirit, with capital S, searches for all things, even the deep things of God. For who knows a person's thoughts except their own spirit within them? In the same way, no one knows the thoughts of God except the Spirit of God. What we have received is not the spirit of the world. So this kind of goes on my topic of what it is to be spiritual versus being religious. And it's not talking about the spirit of mankind, spirit of the world, etc., etc. But the Spirit, capital S, who is from God, so that we may understand what God has freely given us. This is what we speak, not in words taught us by human wisdom, but in words taught by the Spirit, explaining spiritual realities with Spirit-taught words. The person without the Spirit does not accept the things that come from the Spirit of God, but considers them foolishness, and cannot understand them because they are discerned only through the Spirit. The person with the Spirit makes judgments about all things, but such a person is not subject to merely human judgments. For who has known the mind of the Lord so as to instruct him? So, kind of going on with where I wanted to go in 2 Corinthians. Where is it? Let's see. Yeah, it was chapter 1, verse 8. We do not want you to be uninformed, brothers and sisters, about the troubles we experienced in the province of Asia. We were under great pressure, far beyond our ability to endure, so that we despaired of life itself. Indeed, we felt we'd received the sentence of death. But this happened that we might not rely on ourselves, but on God who raises the dead. That's kind of the answer, in a way, pretty much, to why there is suffering, why there are troubles. It's because to put it frankly, it's so that we come to choose to rely on God versus choosing to rely on science, human power of doing things, mankind's way of doing things, or beliefs. And verse 10 goes on to say, God has delivered us from such a deadly peril, and he will deliver us again. On him we have set our hope that he will continue to deliver us. As you help us by your prayers, then many will give thanks on our behalf for the gracious favor granted us in answer to the prayers of many. And I think in this one I want to see it talking about those who choose to follow the Spirit and follow Jesus and everything. This is our boast. Our conscience testifies that we have conducted ourselves in the world, especially in our relations with you, with integrity and godly sincerity. We have done so not relying on worldly wisdom, but on God's grace. And that's really the key. Like, for example, when they mention in courts, I mean, you'll probably see it more on TV shows than anything, but they actually will say, God is my witness. I mean, that's actually in here in Corinthians. But today's message was more about, trying how to find joy in a type of adversity that you might be going through, whether it's things like homelessness, joblessness, living paycheck to paycheck, you're alone incessantly, intensely, any addictions or health issues you might have, any crushing disappointments, if you've been victimized, stuck in debt, Um, those were the main things. And the thing is, there really is, even though it may be hard, there is really the reality of joy, even in all these hardships that people go through. Philippians 1, verse 12 through 18 says, "Now I want you to know, brothers and sisters, that what has happened to me has actually served to advance the gospel." And that was talking about Paul, how the Romans jailed him for his preachings, teachings, just all kinds of things about him. Basically, people who are Christian are not supposed to stir up trouble. They're supposed to be sincere about what they're doing, speak the truth in love, and to not get sidetracked. And when we do share the good news with people, rather than just keep it to ourselves or keep it in our little circle, we're not supposed to do it out of selfish ambition. We're supposed to be confident to proclaim the message of the gospel without fear. And, you know, when you think about it, we didn't have quite the same circumstances that had happened back in biblical days. Yes, the world has gotten a lot worse since then. A lot worse. Worser, that's so funny. But the thing is, we got to think about our motives. And let's see. I think that was pretty much it. Just think about what our motives are, you know. I think, like, when everybody who doesn't believe asks, you know, why is there suffering? Why do good things happen to bad people? Bad things happen to good people, etc., etc. I think in these times of adversity, you know, we basically can find out who our real friends are and who really truly, like, cares about us. Pretty much. And adversity brings us closer. Granted, there are times where people turn further away. You know, a lot of people will say that there's nothing in the Bible that's really helpful. And I've been looking a little bit at the Book of Mormon, and I've never seen anything in the Book of Mormon that tells me how to live, you know, the life that Christ wants. Like in Philippians 1, verse 27 says, "Whatever happens, conduct yourselves in a manner worthy of the gospel of Christ. Do nothing out of selfish ambition, vain conceit. In humility, value others above yourselves." That was from chapter 2. And also, it goes on, "For it is God who works in you to will and to act in order to fulfill his good purpose. Do everything without grumbling or arguing, so that you may become blameless and pure." It's just, you know, simple things like that. And you'd think that people would really see the truth of everything. But a lot of times they really don't. But I think at this point I'm going to conclude my video. I kind of got a little bit longer. I'm going to try to keep mine to 10 minutes or less if I can. If this will help people, you know, find something that's uplifting, that will, hopefully, they can spread the word.